Hi, hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Angela. Feel free to call me Ange. I don't mind. Otherwise known as Nomad Dreams if you're hunting for me on social media. But check out the description for all the info. I keep waiting for a sunny day so I can record a video to you. Introduce myself and get this party started. But you know, I live in Yorkshire, northwest of England. If I were to wait for a sunny day to film, you might get 50, maybe between 50 and 100 videos posted in a year. So we do what we can with what we've got. There will be no fancy lighting equipment. There will be just the cloudy Yorkshire days. I do have an SAD lamp for sanity's sake, but that's harsh light. So no space for fancy reflectors and lighting and goodness knows what else. So, you know, move along if that's what you're after. But for my imperfectly perfect peeps, let's explain where we're at and what's happening over here in my corner of the world. Where to begin? How far back do we go? Okay, I was a coach. That's all I did was the life coaching. Business was called Key Life Coaching. And in around 2012 to 2013, life got interesting. Really sucky year, which turned into 2 years, which turned into 3. And I just did not have the bandwidth to feel congruent holding space for other people when I needed all of that for myself. Simultaneously, I'm discovering this world of mixed media art and the grungy, messy goodness. I've always loved creativity. I've loved writing. I won little bookmaking and story writing competitions at school. I did love the creative arts, but my sibling was the one who had all the talent in my mind. Mine wasn't natural. I couldn't just copy, you know, look at a person and then copy all the musculature and get this perfect. Yeah, it just wasn't happening. That wasn't me. When I saw this gorgeous, messy, grungy stuff that pulled my eye, I wondered, can I actually make that myself? Not just enjoy looking at it and following artists, but can I have a play at this? And my new hobby began, and here's the crucial thing. I forgot to say, as well as life coaching, I've always read oracle cards, and I was a Reiki healer as well. Got qualified with my Reiki 1 and my Reiki 2 certification. And what I noticed when I was making my art was the same thing I noticed whenever I was in a coaching session with someone, that I got the Reiki glow. My Reiki glow, when I'm channeling healing energy and I'm in flow, I get really warm quite quickly and I just sort of stay warm. Sometimes I find myself just having a conversation with someone and I get my Reiki glow and I'm like, oh, they're receiving healing right now. Some energy exchange is happening. Reiki is received as opposed to given, so you can't force it upon anybody, right? My specialty is animals. I love giving Reiki to animals. They tend to be so receptive and it's amazing for the results. That's by the by. And I was so intrigued that while I'm on my own with a bunch of scraggly materials, because my favourite is upcycling, I will have the paints. I'm sat behind a whole pile of stuff right now. I'll have the paints in the medium. But the majority of the papers and materials that I use and substrates are just things I'm trying to save from the recycle bin. I'm crazy about upcycling my junk into joy. But I was so confused and intrigued and curious about the fact that I got my Reiki glow on when I was making the art, when I was playing, when I was doing any kind of creativity, when I was experimenting, particularly if I spent a bit of time on it and got into creative flow, which tends to be a state where your chatterbox brain shuts the heck up and you're just going by intuition and feel, and you're not overthinking. You're trying your best not to think at all. You are just, I wouldn't say trying, I'm not trying anything, I just sort of stop thinking. And I'm not one to hold something here. Do I want it to be here? Do I want it to be here? At least not for long. I'm not making very conscious, logical choices about things at all. I move swiftly and I don't give myself time to think, and I don't get caught up in perfectionism because it's just layers. If I don't like the look of it, or I really detest what it looks like, no problem, just keep going, keep covering it up. I know that some people freeze, so I do help people who do have that perfectionism, who do have the fear of the blank page. I love the white page. Love it. I get stuck in the messy middle. When I start to like it and I don't want to mess it up, well, that's where mine kicks in. Everyone's different. I was just really intrigued. How is this healing? Why am I getting the Reiki glow on? All I knew was it saved my sanity and was such a stress relief in a time when my life was going to poop. And by the time I did the mad crazy thing of dreaming up the name Nomad Dreams and evolving my business more into me being my business, whatever I was doing at the time in my life, offering whatever my offerings may be, which will always, I'm a natural born coach. The coaching will never go away, and it seeps into everything, every art creativity workshop, every behind the scenes video. Okay, maybe not every single one. It will come out. The sort of personal development, the intentional living, the being brave and bold with your dreams. It's just going to seep into all I do and all I talk about. But having the business name that said Key for Reiki Life Coaching, did sort of encompass my holistic approach, but certainly not the rest of it, not the arts, not anything else I might want to do. So Nomad Dreams just gave me this umbrella catch-all. Don't ask me where it came from. I have no idea where the name came from. No idea. It just came out of the ether. And I was already doing my usual vision book process. So rather than vision boards, you may have heard of vision boards or dream boards. I always did mine in a book because for me it was an ongoing process. And so that's just how I was into it. And I had this giant book. I'll be showing you a lot of my vision books in future videos. But I had this gigantic oversized notebook that I bought along with a gigantic huge pen when I was feeling quite rigid and constrained and logical. And I wanted to help myself get into a childlike state. So I bought this just gigantic book. I don't need to tell you about it. The little clips come off of it, but it's still there. This huge biro pen, normal pen, but huge. And an even bigger, huge notebook, which I wrote in, but I also did my vision pages in. And I drew in it and all sorts. And I did that to help me feel like a child, like I'm a small child using an adult's pen and an adult's notebook, and helping myself let go and be more carefree and childlike in my approach to dreaming, scheming, journaling, visioning, whatever it may be. Because something was shifting. I could tell something was shifting. Things needed to change. And I also wanted to change where I was by that point. I'm about to go into too much detail. That can happen in another video. Pull it back, Ange. The short version is that I packed up my life and hit the road. And Nomad Dreams became a bit literal with the nomadic life. I got rid of a lot of things and decluttered drastically. I put some stuff into a storage unit and I hit the road, and for 5 years I was a house and pet sitter, just living in other people's houses all over the UK, looking after their homes, gardens, security, and obviously animals. And it was a tonic, and I did need that break from the coaching, particularly one-to-one coaching. So I hoped to keep my creativity more alive than I actually did, than I actually managed to. I was too worried about messing up someone's home because I'm afraid my process is gel mediums and matte mediums and glue and paint, and cats and dogs knock over water jars and paint, and I can't get it on someone's carpet or ruin their table, or there's only so much you can carry with you in the car when you live life on the road. So, and I needed to be dedicated to the animals that I was there for. So I didn't do as much. I kind of, before I hit the road, envisioned kind of treating each place like a retreat location. That didn't end up happening, but I was a happy bunny. I would then build in breaks to see my family in between house sits. And at the beginning of 2020, I'd left at about 6 weeks, I think, a gap, because I was so fully booked for the rest of the year. I left a 6-week gap because increasingly I was spending more and more time with my one remaining grandparent who lives here in Yorkshire, in Skipton. And in about 2018, I'd say, I noticed the signs, along with another family member who visits the most, because unfortunately she retired far, far away from all of the rest of the family. And we noticed the very first, earliest signs of some kind of dementia. So in 2020, we find ourselves locked down together during my visit. And I tried my best to keep her empowered, not have her grow dependent on me, that kind of thing. But with lockdown, very quickly her mobility went downhill fast. So this super gran, I call her, my super gran was going to the gym twice a week, at least twice a week, and going into town, I'd say probably at least 4 or 5 times a week before lockdown happened. And by the time that first year of lockdowns was over, it was just really clear to me that there was no way around it. However much I tried to empower her and not encourage a kind of dependency, I could not leave her alone here. So I had a decision to make, which I did not make lightly. But I did it. I stopped everything. Well, it all stopped. I had a very unceremonious end, didn't I, to the pet sitting, when you think about it, because I'm like an honorary member of so many households all over the UK, but we never had a conversation about it ending. No one ever cancelled the job. We all just watched the TV, watched the pandemic unfold, and we knew that holidays were no more, and obviously my services were no longer required. And I never got goodbyes. I never had any kind of, it was very unceremonious, the ending to a real era. So the end of 2014 to the beginning of 2020. So I was now 24/7 caregiver. Don't recommend it. But there was no options. There just isn't the support up here. I think, to be honest, even if the family lived up north, which they don't, they're all down south, they've all got different circumstances. One's in Australia, there's 2 that are probably as or more disabled than Gran is. It's just the way it is. There aren't the people there to help. So I became 24/7 caregiver, and she got diagnosed with vascular dementia, and it progressed. And I did it for, I was about to say as long as I could. I did it for longer than was healthy. My body isn't used to sleeping through. I'm still not properly sleeping. I'm relaxed and I'm not stressed now, but it's not used to going to sleep a sensible hour, sleeping all the way through and not waking up early. So we're not there yet, but it's only just happened. I've got my gran into a care home. The first 5 weeks weren't fun. They weren't looking after her properly. We moved her. I've got her somewhere else now. So just before Christmas, I should say I'm filming this in January 2024, because hello, people from the future. And yeah, it's only just before Christmas that we got her into this wonderful place. Wonderful. Now, as of Christmas, now I truly am off duty. I really wasn't before. I'm now truly not a caregiver. I have handed that responsibility over to a place I love and trust. And so here I am in a real dodgy situation, as all caregivers who have done the sort of thing I have done find themselves. Let's talk about just here in the UK, because it's different everywhere. I could apply for carer's allowance. It was about a year and a half after I moved in here. It was probably nearly a year before I actually made the decision, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to make this my address. I'm going to become this person, look after Gran. So it was coming up to 2 years before I could apply for carer's allowance, because Gran has to be on attendance allowance for that to happen. Don't worry about that. It's a whole thing. That is £307 every 4 weeks. Also, we're both milk-free and gluten-free. Just in case you don't know how expensive that makes your food. A tiny loaf of bread for £2.50 to £3. Soya milks. Yeah, anyway, a lot more expensive. So, living on £307 is not doable as it is. So we were sort of attempting, all this time we've kind of been attempting to live on Gran's pension, because I couldn't pull my weight financially and contribute things once I was run dry. And to make it worse, the carer's allowance didn't pay me for the first 6 months. Loads of hassle trying to get it out of them, but I had nothing for 6 months, and they finally gave me a back payment. And then it happened again for another 6 months. So this was a year without money, and I had no choice. By then my Nomad mobile, which I had bought new back in 2009, was a little old, and I honestly couldn't have managed the tax, MOT, insurance and fuel, but certainly not the repairs. As she was getting older, one thing after another kept happening. She was costing me a fortune. I didn't have the money for it, so when carer's allowance didn't pay up for a whole year, I had to get rid of her. So I sold my Nomad mobile, and I still was pretty chilled out because I'd gotten into the habit of home deliveries for my groceries because of COVID. Thankfully, Gran's house was really close to town, less than a mile's walk. Honestly, hasn't been an issue until I got her into a care home. Oh, by the way, I got my local MP involved in the end to get the carer's allowance happening. He was brilliant, and I kind of got on some strange VIP list from that moment on. I haven't had to fill any of the forms that you're supposed to fill in regularly or anything. They've just paid me solidly. But as I say, that's still not enough to live on. So yes, I'll be honest, I've ruined myself financially making this decision, and to this day I have zero regrets, because I just know what I would want if I was in her position. I was able to do it. I'm a natural born nurturer, and because of my reading of energy, I don't need somebody to be able to communicate their needs to me as much, because I can read it, and I'm pretty good at knowing what someone needs. And it's a little bit depleting, to put it mildly. Now that she's in a beautiful, lovely care home, having no Nomad mobile, i.e. having no car, is a little bit of a problem to me. It's nerve-wracking. I at least had, as a fallback, as a plan B, the ability to go straight back into house sitting. If I have a car, I can just contact all my pre-clients. There are websites I can get new clients, and I'm off. I've got places to live. I've got a way to make some money. Again, it doesn't pay awesomely well, but I had already gotten to the point, part of what I wanted to achieve going around the UK doing these house sits was to discover what county I might like to live in. Find a place that I loved. And in all that time, I didn't find anywhere that I loved more than Yorkshire. I love the landscape, much like my beloved Wales. It's green and lush and hilly, hence the cloud on the rain. And I love the people. There is nothing like Yorkshire folk. So I'd already decided by the time 2020 came around that is where I would get a place of my own. And I was holding the vision of my own place and art studio, and it's a pretty creative area. And I was really excited about that. But the seed was only just sown. I wasn't ready to put anything to fruition. I didn't have the finances under my belt, and then made the decision that made that worse, took away a foundation. So here we are at the point that I'm recording this. Hello, welcome. I'm effectively launching from scratch, although it's a relaunch. It was such a baby version of my business that had been born before I hit the road. Some awesome patrons from Patreon stuck with me throughout the caregiving year when I had barely anything to spare them. Not a lot of bandwidth. I think we managed our monthly coffee chats and creativities and the behind the scenes stuff, but a lot of other bits, Resonate and our theme of the week, did drop by the wayside, but a few stuck with me. I'm so grateful for you humans. I know you're watching this now. So grateful, so grateful for you. They're still here with me now. That said, to my newbies who do want to come and try out the Nomad Dreams family, can I just say, I just want to say that I'm putting this over on my Patreon page as well. The beauty of Patreon, if you don't know it, it's a site where you can sign up and pledge an amount at different tier levels chosen by the creator for different amounts of money. Choose your level in exchange for whatever that creator is providing each month. And it gives creators, artists, singers, you name it, a steady income. It means they can guarantee a certain minimum each month that they know they won't fall below. And the beauty of it is that you can come and go. And I do find people, when they need to leave, message me, apologize. Hey, our finances change, our circumstances change, the time available changes. The beauty of it is you come and go as you please. So I'm always saying to people, take the best and leave the rest. No obligation to get involved in any of the things that are happening. You choose what you do and don't do. And secondly, you come and go. Do not worry about it and never, ever, ever take offense, okay? Come and go as you please. It's not a problem. It's a fantastic way of gathering community. It's a fantastic bit of stability for creatives like me. And that's it. That's all. That's it. It serves a purpose. It's a beautiful interface for us. But you know, I'm hanging out on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'm always at the end of a message, and you can always be on my mailing list. Please don't worry about the come and go aspect of it. Just want people to know it's all good. It's all love, okay? No apologies needed. So here we are. Let's have a little explanation of, excuse me, where we're starting from. Okay, so where I'm starting with, revisiting my dreams, I've done that part of it. They've evolved a little as I've evolved in the last 9 years with the experiences I've had. My Patreon remains mainly the same, only I'm really involved in it now. So this is the first time in nearly a decade that I have been able to actually dedicate full time to my business, to me, and that's what's happening right now. I'm looking after me. I'm looking after my health. I piled weight on. Although I haven't had it confirmed yet, I'm pretty sure my blood pressure would have gone up. My cholesterol probably went up. Cortisol. I think I've been bathing in cortisol. So my focus is my health, my future self. That does mean the structure, the finances, the health, everything. Me supporting me looking after future me as well as present me. And growing my business initially through Patreon. I'm largely focusing on Patreon, so I'll be sharing videos on YouTube to just reach more peeps. And another thing I'll just mention about why I love Patreon, about that come and go aspect of the patrons. But for the creators, they don't take money until we're earning some. So they take some off of what's pledged by our patrons. There's a lot of other things I would love to do, offering e-courses like I used to in group programs, but I want to do them through I used to do them very DIY style back in the day, 10 years plus ago. I would like to do them through interfaces like Kajabi, Teachable, that kind of thing, but I like Kajabi. They require a huge payment upfront before you've made anything. They're the investment first. Absolutely appropriate for a lot of people to do. When you're as depleted as an ex-caregiver, and this world does not support caregivers, and Grand's home that has been my home for 4 years needs to be sold to pay for the care home, Angie's facing homelessness, so she ain't gonna be paying anything out for those sorts of things. So I just want to big up Patreon again for the fact that we don't need to pay up front, and we doesn't require investment first. We can grow without that risk factor in there. I thoroughly enjoy it, and the practices, the things that I share with my different tier levels of patrons. So we've got Vision, Create and VIPs. The lowest levels, that every patron gets what the Vision level gets. It's called Vision because that includes Resonate, my year-long vision book program. All of the things I offer through it nourish me so much, and I benefit from. It's incredible. I feel so blessed to live and work and live, and have this self-nourishing practice, self-nourishing business. It's incredible. So I benefit from doing the things that I offer for other people. So all tier levels get behind the scenes posts and videos. You just follow me along in my travels, in whatever I'm doing. Theme of the week. Used to be card of the week. I now don't limit myself to just pulling a card for guidance. It could be a word, it could be a picture, it could be a quote. We'll just have a little focus, a little touchstone in the week. As I say, take the best, leave the rest. And thirdly, Resonate, the vision book practice. So I will share with you how I have used it, how I do use it, the magical things that have happened for me that I nearly went into earlier. I nearly ended up telling you about how it's been miraculous for me, spooky, coincidental, serendipitous, the things that have come from it for me. And I will film myself doing at least one vision page spread, like usually 2 pages of a book, each month, and that I share with you. Sometimes on the new moon and sometimes on a full moon. It varies for me. No rules. That's another thing you'll hear me say a lot of. No rules. Then the next level up, we have Create. So you get all of that I've just said, but we also meet once a month for coffee chats and creativity. Now I have a very small Nomad Dreams family at the moment, full of introverts. We've also got different time zones. So at the moment, not a lot of people want to be on video or want to come live. The replay's there all the time for you to see whenever you want. As and when this grows, I'm going to be considering taking it to Zoom, having us have the opportunity, you can still have your video switched off, but giving us a greater opportunity to meet in real time and have more of a co-working space, co-creating space. But for now, it is me on a Facebook live stream. Then anybody who wants to come along can just watch me. You can just turn up in your pajamas with a bevy, do nothing, chat to me in the comments thread. So we have a chat while I'm creating. You're seeing my tabletop with whatever I am working on, playing with, experimenting on at that time. Or you might want to bring a little project along. It could be you creating right alongside me, so that as if we're at the virtual art table together. Or it could be like a task that you've really been putting off and you just want me to be present and it help you get it done. But as I say, as we grow and I take people's feedback and there starts to be more of a demand for it, and some people think they might get something from that, then I kind of like the idea of creating a bit of a co-working space, co-creating space in the future, as well as the coffee chats and creativity. And my darling VIPs are just supporting me and my work and showing me love. I also will periodically here and there potentially surprise people with birthday things in the mail, Patreon anniversary gifties. I've just done a big send out to everybody where everyone got combined merry birthday, happy Christmas, happy New Year, happy Patreon anniversary gifts. So these packages of goodies went off. No one's got them and opened them up yet. So I'm really looking forward to the feedback as people start to explore all the treasures that they've got inside. I think that will do for now. So I'll just share that. Largely what will be on the Facebook page will be me talking about the two aspects of my Patreon, of what I do, of what I'm spending my time doing. And so that's visioning my life into being by this vision quest that I call Resonate. And I call my vision pages resonance pages, because it's about the energy. For me, that's how I work and play and create. And the mixed media art. So you see me creating stuff, not just selling stuff, not just seeing the final products. And I throw in there the odd little tutorial when I discover something that gets me excited. So I'm making a batch of faux homemade papers. Then I'll share a video about how I make them and the things you can use to do it. Because as I say, very excited about recycling, using rubbish, trash, just turning our junk into joy. I do have an e-course that was birthed before I went blonde, so that's why the whole thing needs re-recording, because I hadn't finished it in the first place before I became a caregiver, but also I was a brunette. So as I say, that's called cARTe postale, A-R-T, cARTe postale. And that's small art, making small art with the focus on the upcycling, using all our junk mail and our marketing material and crap, and turning them into small artworks that you may or may not wish to send as postcards, postcard art, or just small art, whatever you feel. Very excited about that, and that will be my first release once we get to the level that I'm using Kajabi, we're delivering the full e-courses, all that jazz. So, baby steps, Patreon for now. I hope you'll join me. Come and go as you please. Take the best and leave the rest. Ciao for now. Mwah. Lovely to meet you, by the way.